The majority of Russians, especially in the smaller towns, have never ever seen a black person in their life. So if you're black, please don't be scared to come to Russia. Nobody going to beat you up, nothing negative going to happen. People will be just curious. They will try to talk to you, maybe take pictures with you, but that's okay. You will be very exotic person over there. Now I am curious. Tell me, what have you heard about Russia and going to Russia as a black person?
Hey, what's up everybody? I'll be doing fine wherever you are today. So just recently a black man had to know how to use a chopstick. Today a black man has to use to get drinking vodka and also owning a bear. What do I mean? Today Russia is appealing to black people to go to Russia because just recently we had an issue with Japan. So my conspiracy theory has it that why do you think that the interest of black people are always increasing in different places that they keep on going? Because for me, usually I keep on seeing the interest of black people increasing. You never know, tomorrow black people will be needed maybe in India. So the interest of black people keeps on increasing, and I think it could have been because of some possible reasons. They are not stating it because everybody who's trying to say this, they're not stating the reason as to why they need black people to go to these places that they're suggesting for people to go. However, I want us to watch this video of this Russian woman trying to tell black people to come to Africa. Come on, man, why is it Africa? To go to Russia. But there's some things that we need to think about it first. Is it just because that Russia has no history of racism, or is it that Russia is not occupied by black people as compared to other places? What is the motive of these people trying to tell people to come to these countries? There is always some agenda. And one thing that I would like to say just first before watching the video is that a black person adapts anywhere. Take a black person, put them in any place of the continent, they will survive. If you take a black person in China, they will survive there. If you take a black person in Japan, they will survive there. If you take them in Vietnam, they'll survive there. We are always adaptive to any place that you will put us, and we will always thrive. That's one thing with a black person. So let's watch this video, then come back, say something.
American things that do not exist in Russia. Part 5. Black people. Well, they do. But it is mostly in the big cities, it is rarity, it is mostly Afro-Russians, and it's only 0.03% of our population. I've never seen a black person growing up in Russia. The first time I did is when I went to UK and I was 17 years old. And historical reason for that in 1842 our Emperor Nicholas I banned human of Africans and stated that slaves who will arrive in Russia would be set free, and people who broke the law would be put on trial and punished. So black people in Russia is more something of wonder, curiosity, something, exotic from overseas. Going back to Afro-Russians, those are people of African descent who migrated and settled in Russia, and it's usually multi-generational. We usually get many students from Africa who come to big cities, usually Moscow or St. Petersburg, to study medicine. Many of them settle in Russia, many of them marry Russian women or men, have kids, and that's how we have black Russians. But I'm telling you, the majority of Russians, especially in the smaller towns, have never ever seen a black person in their life. So if you're black, please don't be scared to come to Russia. Nobody going to beat you up, nothing negative going to happen. People will be just curious. They will try to talk to you, maybe take pictures with you, but that's okay. You will be very exotic person over there. Now I am curious. Tell me, what have you heard about Russia and going to Russia as a black person?
Let me explain something to you. Black folk, especially of the African American kind, we don't trust nobody. We need a little bit more assurance before we bring our asses over there. The thing is, we need a specific opinion from a specific somebody that's specifically over there. I mean, you seem real sweet. You do. But that's, we not, nah. We don't trust anywhere that we go. Okay. We know that anytime we travel, we need to check the temperature of that place before we go there. Okay. We need to ask other black folks that have been to said region and go, what was it like for you? And we go based off of that information, because although you may feel like things are great over there and, you know, based on what you've seen, unfortunately, because of who you are, you would not always specifically see it because it's not specifically directed at you as far as bad things that can happen to us. So there are some things that you just may not be aware of because you don't have to be. So I'm gonna need a specific somebody because, like I said, you seem real sweet, but there's no way until it's a specific somebody that tells us that it's okay to come over there, and that is something that we would think about to this degree because, you know, the person that y'all got over there leading is a bit interesting. He's a little eccentric, so he has some interesting ideas. So yeah, I think we find where we at.
I don't know about this, man. I feel like I need a black traveler content creator to co-sign on this because I don't know about that. And I only say that because it is annoyingly common when you have white friends that travel for you to hear about how you have to go to this place, have to go to that place. Then you ask them about how do they treat black people? What's the racism situation like? They will always downplay it, like to really give this sentiment of like, it's not as bad as the United States, so you have nothing to worry about. But that's not what you're talking about, right? Like in their minds, they're thinking about overt racism, like things that are right in your face. And they're like, and because they don't see it, they don't see people getting beat up in the street. They don't see people strung up and whatnot. They're like, it's not bad. Like, they're like, it's fine. It's safe. It's the equivalent of a guy telling a woman, you can walk alone at 2 o'clock in the morning in this neighborhood, no problems. It's like, no, I can't. It's like, don't worry. It's safe. It's fine. What do you got to worry about? It's like, no, you don't. My experience is different than your experience. That's basically what it is. Our experiences are different. So there might be some things you won't catch up on, but that doesn't mean that it's not racist, right? So they'll keep going about these like, oh, no, it's not bad. It's fine. It's fine. Whatever. And because their logic around it is more like, how can I put this? Their logic is like, shit. It's okay. It's like this. It's like this place isn't racist because no one can call you the N-word because no one speaks English. It's like that. It's like because the racism isn't the same, the assumption is that it doesn't exist. And that's not true at all. And, you know, they're not thinking about the microaggressive racism and things like that. They don't think about that stuff. So what'll happen is, and I've seen this happen, that their black friend will be like, okay, fine, no, I trust you, because they'll probably tell them like, I would never put you in that kind of situation that makes you uncomfortable. Like, yeah, that's right, yeah, I don't think you would. So I'll go on this trip with you to this country. Then they go, experience what they thought they were going to experience, and then the white friend will tell them what? Just ignore it. We're here, have fun, just ignore it. And it's like, no, they shouldn't have to ignore anything. You're on vacation. They should be able to experience vacation as you experience vacation. They shouldn't have to deal with any emotional or mental stress because someone's being a dick. The only thing they should be ignoring is the bill. They should just be like, yo, I'm having a good time. I don't care what it is. Let's have fun. But no, that's why people ask that stuff. That's why I totally understood one black traveler creator that I follow when she was like, I only go to black countries now because I want to be treated like a person the first time. As simple as that. So, and what happens is if you do that to your friend who's black, they're not going to fuck with you anymore because you put them in an uncomfortable situation when you promised you wouldn't. And even though they tried to tell you about the situation, you've refused to acknowledge them. So, like, you know, it is what it is. So, yeah, it's important to really check your privilege before you tell Black people where they can feel safe.
American things that do not exist in Russia. Part 5. Black people. What have you heard about Russia and going to Russia as a Black person?
A Black person who lived in Russia. Those things that she said were wonderful. Wow, my hair really needs redone. We're going to pretend. Those things that she said were wonderful, but not completely true. Racism and colorism exist in Russia. I am mixed, and my roommate was darker complected, and she had not the best time. Often she was stopped by the cops more than I was. And it just was not the same experience. We also were working with people from different African countries who had been trafficked there for either slave labor or sex trafficking. So my conversations were always about racism and how Black people were treated. And even now, to this day, I lived there for 2 years. And I visit often. I see people from there often. And we talk about the work that I did and how to them it was invisible and they didn't realize what was going on. While my daily life was discussing about the Black experience in Russia and how awful it truly can be, as it is not set up to support Black folks.
Time and inclination, I would definitely say go back and watch that TikTok. But I just wanted to say that I find it extremely interesting that Russia has such a low population of Black people, and per her explanation, the reason why they don't have so many Black people there is because slavery was illegal. So there was no reason to bring Black people there, because any Black people who came there were going to be considered free people, and anybody who was trying to engage in slavery was going to face legal repercussions. It's very interesting to me because I'm just like, I know people be trying to be like, oh, Black people are everywhere. But I'm like, I feel like we wouldn't be everywhere if it wasn't for the slave trade. And I feel like Russia is like a case study of what's the point of us bringing niggas there because they're not going to put them to work. So we'll just bring them to the nations where they will be enslaved.
If you think it's a lie that we Black people, we are in demand, if you think it's a lie, for me, you know, I think that there are a couple of possible reasons. However, what's in hand is what's happening to these people's reactions toward going to Russia. Of course, what I'll also say that a Black person, you are always safe where your people are, where your community are. However, if you're a person who is looking to explore the world, if you're a person who is looking to get out of the place that you are, we have people who have made these decisions of going outside where they stay. We have people who have came back to Africa. We have people who have gone to Brazil. We have people who have gone to different places. I mean, it's all dependable with the choice of where you want to go. But the question that I would like to ask, if we leave the racism thing outside this topic of discussion, if we're just trying to ask ourselves, why are we keep on seeing people demanding or wanting to see Black people going to these places? There's a question that I would like to pose you. If there ain't something, you know, I might not have a tangible reason as to why they are demanding to see or to want these Black folks, but I believe that there is something. There's just something sinister. There's just some hidden agenda. That part or that piece, if we get to know, and that also shows that a Black person is a valuable person. We are so valuable. I'm not trying to brag about this. I'm not trying to say to make you feel good, but this is just the truth. A Black person is valued everywhere. One reason that I know, that I think generally we know, is that a Black person is adaptive to any place you will take them. Adaptive to any place you will take them. They won't complain about the climate. They won't complain about the weather. They won't complain about the sun. They won't complain about the temperatures. Only for the few who have some, you know, health issues. But a typical Black person who is healthy, who is traveling, who is going to different places, they might not have any problem, except for some temperature changes, you know, trying to adapt to temperature changes of different places, that only. But other things like tropical diseases or anything, nah bro, they ain't. And that's one thing that I would like to say. Also, don't you think about the issue of survival as being part of this thing? Because if a black person have showed that for the longest time they can adapt to different places, they can survive any tropical diseases that might come across them. And this traces back to during the slave trade times. Remember, the black slaves were specifically chosen because people knew that they are immune to tropical diseases. And this is something which is happening thousands and thousands of years, and there are facts there that shows that a black person is so immune to all these things. And trying to recall it back, maybe my conspiracy theory tells me that maybe, just maybe, this might be a reason as to why they need these people to maintain the population of these places. Now listen, I'm not trying to ox something, I'm not trying to say something, but listen, I don't know if it's Japan exactly, there's this studies that has just came out that people are so lonely. There are no people to talk to because the population keeps on dropping drastically, right? So if the population keeps on dropping drastically, it means that they need people who will supply the population to come back. Why will you get these people who are adaptive, who they are, you know what I'm saying? They are not, you know, they are immune to all these kind of things which might happen to them. I mean, just give it a thought. Just as that I'm trying to say. Just try and give it a thought. Figure out something. Why do you think all of a sudden now we are wanted different places? Just think about it. Because let me tell you again one thing with we Africans again. If we Africans want you back to Africa, we don't want you for survival. Maybe we might want you in one, it might be economical way, two, for the people who might want to invest or do something, but it's something not biological, right? So you gotta get the difference. When the deal is good, always think twice. For me, that's what I'll leave you with. However, this story might sound cooked, but trust me, one day you'll be surprised when now it's open, when now people know that when this thing is real, this thing is really real. And I don't want to talk about some history which happened back, and you could see that it is the black community that survived out of all population that this pandemic hit. The black people, majority of people were not so much affected in terms of health-wise because economically everyone was blown. Yep, I mean, that's just my thought. Tell me what you think about this in the comment section. As usually know, this is your presenter Eugene Tiki Stories, and let's meet in my next video. If you're watching this video for the first time, you can consider subscribing to the channel, join the membership, and get to see what I can offer to you. Until then, let's meet in my next video. Peace, love, and harmony. Salute.